Good morning to those in County Mayo, in London and Lisbon, and to those in places I can see as far afield as Oslo, Paris, Madrid, Lagos, Moscow, Milan, Bucharest, Dublin, Addis Ababa, and many, many other points on the compass. Welcome to today's 11th and final session in this series of Hoist dashboard trainings. Thank you for joining in and participating. My name is Simon I. Hansen. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Hoist Group, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all today. We're going to follow a similar format to the sessions before. We will have a subject matter expert in a few moments' time talking about today's subject, which is analysing booking curves. That'll last, 15, 20 minutes or so. And the plan during the session is to open up the floor to any questions you may have. So you'll see in your Zoom taskbar here that there is a QA button. If you have a question, raise your hand by clicking on that QA button and typing in a text that you want to ask us. And when we come to the end of the presentation, the live presentation on Hoist Dashboard, we will answer your questions. So don't be shy, don't be afraid, or if something comes up a little bit later that you want to ask us about that you don't think of during the session, then do drop us a note at marketing@hoistgroup.com and we will make sure that that gets answered. Likewise, if you need to take an urgent phone call and you're enjoying the content of today's presentation, don't panic. You can always ask us again on the QA function at the end of the initial presentation. And we are recording today's session, and we will make them available, all the recordings, not just for today, but for the 10 other sessions as well, available towards the end of this week. We will drop you an email to tell you when those recordings are available and how to get hold of them. So don't panic if you miss something, and do please forward this on to any other members of your team within your hotel who you think might benefit from anything that we've discussed today or over the course of the other sessions that we have worked through over the last 2.5 weeks. So as those of you who are used to the format, welcome back. Those of you who are new to it, welcome to you for the first time. The key theme of all these training sessions has been about insight. And fundamental to a hotel's performance is the ability to analyze occupancy, ADR pickup, and other financial metrics to take appropriate measures on pricing, marketing, and so forth. And I'm delighted to say that Danny Rees, who is a customer success manager based in our Kilkenny office in Ireland, is going to walk us through how Hoist Dashboard can help give you this insight. So, Danny, I think it's time for you to take over. So over to you.
Brilliant. Thanks a million, Simon. Yeah. So just one moment there, and I'm going to start by sharing my screen. And Matt, as usual, if you can let me know if you can see it okay.
Good morning, Danny. Yes, we can see your dashboard.
Fantastic. Thank you. So as Simon said, hi, everybody. Welcome to the last class in the dashboard certification course. So as Simon explained, in today's class, we're going to focus on learning how to analyze your occupancy and ADR, to understand your booking trends, and most importantly, how this can optimize your hotel's performance. We're going to do all of this with our new business analysis tool within the dashboard. Firstly, we're going to discuss the data itself, it's always important, and how to use the tool to extract the data in various different graphs. This is important as data is key in understanding your market, but you have to know what it means to your business. Then we're going to run through how to filter the data by your individual market segments, nationalities, and much more to get a better understanding of individual market patterns. It's another key step in understanding accurate pricing and marketing strategies. So I guess we'll get started. First things first, as you can see from my screen, I'm in the dashboard. So how do we get to this new business analysis tool? If on the left-hand side here, if you navigate along the access bar, you can hover over one of them and you'll see business analysis. If you're not sure what the icons mean, if you hit the little arrow here, you can see the names of them. So if I select my business analysis tool, I'm now loading up the tool itself. So what we see first within the tool is we can see a select date range. So for example, I can see an order date range. This is your created date range of your bookings. I can then see a stay date range. So this is the stay date range of my bookings. I can then see some filters and some export options as well. I'll run through those a little bit later on. Then I can see some of our graphs that I'm going to run through. But just before I run through them, I'm going to explain a little bit about the data. Yesterday during one of my classes, I explained that we have an interface with Hotsoft 8 to push data up into our data lake. So that was some of our statistical data. Now the data feeding into this tool is a little bit different. It's what we call raw data, so it's live data. It's pushing up from Hotsoft around every 2 hours or so it's very accurate, so you can monitor it throughout the day and you can see your market changes. It's key to keep an eye on things, because as we know, at 9 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the evening, things can be very different for a date, especially if a concert or event or something like that is announced. If we start to run through the graphs themselves and see what we can do with them, as I mentioned, up here, I have a stay date range applied on my graphs at the moment. But if I wish, what I can do is I can select today's date, and that'll apply across the graphs. Tomorrow, the next 7 days, so on and so forth. I can also select a custom date range and select apply. That'll apply the same date ranges across all 6 graphs that I have on my page. I can also apply individual filters onto the individual graphs. So through the little setting wheel here, I can tick this box, and now I can select custom order date range to apply just to this graph, a stay date range to apply just to this graph, and filters to apply just to this graph as well. For the demonstration or for the class, what I'm going to do is untick this and leave it as a global date range setting. So what do these graphs do? What are they used for? How can I use this to analyze my market trends and analyze my booking trends? First things first, for myself personally, I use the booked room nights, the average daily rate, and the RevCar contribution charts together. Okay, so if I wanted to use this just in a simple view, I want to see, for example, my bookings that are coming in over the next coming months. I can see that information here on the booked room nights graph. What it's going to do if I hover over December is I can see, for example, my bookings broken down by confirmed, provisional, and waitlist. I can see that in total, I have 482 room nights of bookings coming in December 2020. I can then see that compared to last year, and I can see I have 429. That means I'm up 12.4% on last year. Fantastic. If I want to, I can also break that information down to look at a weekly view. Now I can see of those 450 room nights or 482 room nights that I have, I can see it broken down by the individual weeks. Is it mostly the New Year's week, the Christmas week? What's happening with those bookings? If I want to, I can scroll down with my date range selector here, and now I can see that broken down by week 53, 52, so on and so forth. I can even quite quickly change that to take a look at the individual days. So now I'm getting a real granular detail as to the spread of all those bookings. And I can take a look at it and see from my year-over-year comparisons. As I mentioned yesterday, whenever we do year-over-year comparisons, especially when it comes to days, we're looking at the week and the day. We're not looking at the date versus the date. So I'm not looking at the 31st of December last year versus the 31st of December this year. I'm looking at the day of the week and the week number. So if I move this back here, and I move it back to my month. So this is just a quick view for me to take a look and see, okay, what's my room nights for this year? What's my room nights for last year? I find this quite quick, and a lot of property management systems, there'll be multiple reports within the system to get this data. But a lot of the time, if you want to get a nice, easy year-over-year comparison for your booked room nights, you might have to run a report 2 or 3 different times. So straight away, this is a bonus for me because I'm saving time. What I can see is I can see what my average daily rate is achieved for those booked room nights too. I can see here in December that I was able to achieve an ADR, or an average daily rate, of 152.96 for this year versus just 96.05 last year. That's great because now already I'm up €60 on last year. Great to hear. As you can see on the bottom of the charts, I always note whether I'm looking at my figures with VAT exclusive or VAT inclusive. If I want to change that toggle, up on the top right-hand side of your profile, just on your name, you can choose whether you want to look at the revenues with VAT or without VAT. And that's defaulted across the dashboard for yourself. If I scroll down, I can also see my RevPAR contribution. key figure. So I can see here in December, for example, I was able to achieve a RevPAR of 55.24 versus a RevPAR last year of 48.03. Okay. Now, excuse me. Let's just say that I'm a revenue manager within a hotel and I was lucky enough to get maybe a week off in the middle of summer. And I want to take a look and see, okay, what happened in the hotel last week? What bookings were made? What date are those bookings coming in for? Do I need to keep an eye on the market, see what's after happening? I need to do a quick catch up. This tool is going to be great for that. What I can do is earlier on I mentioned on that here we have an order date range or a created date range. I can go in here and select my date and I can take a look at the week that I was off. So for example, I can take a look for my bookings created from the 1st up until the 6th of November. I can then select apply. From here now, what I will see is I will see that those bookings made from the 1st of November up until the 6th of November, where are they coming to stay? So are they coming to stay mostly in December, which I can see they are. Everybody wants to come stay here. Once again, I can break it down by my weeks and see when by the individual weeks those bookings are coming in. So I can see that there is a big demand for the last week of the year. New Year's Eve, post-Christmas, we always know that's going to be a busy time. We can also see then what the average daily rate was achieved for those bookings as well. Now, as I can see here, the figures are a little bit strange. Our demo data is static. It's always going to look a little bit different. But I will be able to see what my ADR is achieved for those stay date ranges as well. Similarly, I can see my RevPAR contribution as well. All of this is key in helping me understand what is happening with the market. Was I able to achieve the same ADR in the same booking period for last week for the same period next year? It's all key insights. If we move down slightly, we can then see another set of graphs here, which is our pickup curve graph. What this graph is used for is, let's say, for example, I want to see my bookings that are coming in between I'll put a graph filter on this one. I want to see my bookings that are coming to stay from the 15th of November up until the 21st of November. And I want to see those bookings, when were they made? What is my pickup? What is my booking trends? So for example, are those bookings, are they booking 180 days out, 90 days out, 80 days out? Are they booking more last minute? Is it within the 2-week period? Why is that key for me to know? I want to know, okay, when do I need to drive my marketing? When do I need to do my most marketing online? When do I need to look at my online distribution channels? Am I selling on all of them? Do I want to drive bookings directly to my hotel website? And most importantly, what rate do I want to sell at? If we're looking and we're seeing a trend that everybody's starting to book last minute, I know that there's a demand. There's a demand for bookings last minute within 7 to 14 days. That means that's the time where I need to be monitoring my pricing on a daily basis. I need to make sure that I can maximize my pricing to maximize my revenue. It's key, especially now. So this will start to tell me how it's building and what my trends are. So for example, here, I can see that 1 day out, I can see that my occupancy is starting to climb, from 21 days out, it's starting to climb up as we get closer to the day. So there is more demand there. It also gives me a comparison against last year and this year to see how we're doing. Below here, we have an average daily rate forecast where, for example, relative to my curve here, I can see what rate is being achieved. What we would expect to see is on the furthest out dates, the rate might be a little bit lower. Most of the time, 180 days out, 90 days out, more so, I'm not keeping a close eye on my pricing. Because as I mentioned, we know that a lot of our bookings are last minute. So what we would expect to see here, and rightly so we do, I would expect to see that my average daily rate that I've achieved for these bookings starts to increase as we come closer to the date. We would expect to see it start to level out then as we see the date. We can't take that price rate too high because then we won't achieve the bookings. It's all just a very, very delicate balance. As I mentioned, I can set in an individual filter onto all these graphs. So when I'm looking at this data, it is still applying as per my default settings above. Lastly, we have a pickup forecast table. This table is quite handy in the sense that what I can look at is my stay date ranges from the 1st of October, applying to as above, to the 31st of December. I can look at this information on a monthly, weekly, or daily view. And what it's going to tell me is, for example, if I look here at November, it's going to show me that my actual rooms sold, or my business on the books for November, is 54 room nights. It will show me here then my year one pickup at D-Day. This is going to show me how many rooms were sold last year at the same day. So on the 25th of November last year, how many rooms were sold? It'll tell me then how many rooms were sold in the end in total for last year for November. It will tell me how many provisional sales I currently have. And then it will tell me my differential. So at the moment, I can see I'm down 294 room nights on last year's end goal. So it means I need to achieve 250 room nights to be better or on par with last year. So it's just giving me an indication of how much I need to do to achieve to be on par or better than last year. Now you can look at this information. For example, I can select custom range here, and I can go from the 1st of October all the way through to February 2021. When I select apply now, we can see some of the information. I can see, for example, in January, I'm only 1 room night on last year. Now, some of the data, as I said, this is static data. It is a demo location. Sometimes the figures don't make sense. If I look at the December here, I can see that I'm 0. I'm on par or better with last year. Now, this information that I've been looking at the moment is all just on a global level. It's looking at my property as a whole. That's not always beneficial to me because maybe I have a large amount of tour business. Maybe I have a large amount of wedding business or corporate business. I need to be able to drill down into my individual segments, my market segments, or maybe to my individual booking sources. So for example, booking.com. Do I want to keep an eye on those bookings coming in? We don't like that pesky commission. All of these things gives me a better picture in analyzing my market as a whole. So how can we do that in this tool? Up here, we have an option to filter. If I select the filter from here, we have various different options that are feeding through the property management system into the tool. So it's customized to your hotel. What we can do is we can select our segment. So my market mix, is it mostly leisure? Is it mostly tour, wedding? What is it that I want to take a look at? What's the method for booking? So for example, do I want to analyze my leisure bookings that are booking directly through the hotel? Do I want to see how hard my reservations team and my reception team are working? Are they achieving that high ADR? We can take a look at that. Or if I wish as well, I can focus it down to an individual room type. How are my suites selling? How are my deluxe rooms selling? Am I achieving the rate for those rooms? If I leave it at the leisure market and direct for the moment, what I can do is select apply. The graphs will recalculate, and now I can see all my bookings, for example, made from the 1st of November till the 6th of November, coming to stay till the end of the year, and just for my leisure market that booked directly through the hotel. I can see that, for example, I have 12 room nights coming in for December. So that's 12 bookings coming into December that booked directly for my leisure market. If I want, I can change that and select remove all. From here now, I can take a look at just my OTA bookings, for example. Or I can take a look at my OTA and my hotel website bookings. So all of my online methods. If you wish as well, maybe I want to understand the demographic. Are most of my bookings coming from Germany, for example? Are they coming from France? Are they coming from the UK? Where are they coming from? This information is key because you need to understand what platforms you're marketing on and where to make adjustments. Possibly I'm not getting a large amount of bookings through France. Maybe I don't have a translation on my hotel webpage to translate the information into French. Maybe that's something that's coming up as well. It's something I can look at. All of this information is key into understanding how to market to your actual market and how to adjust your pricing method as well. So from here, I can select my nationality, and once again, I can hit apply. As usual though, these nationalities, all of this information, it's only as good as the data entered within your property management system. So just to be wary of that when you're doing these filters. With all of these as well, we can also choose to export the information into PDF or PowerPoint. So if I had a last-minute meeting with the general manager of the hotel as a revenue manager, and he wants to know what happened last week, what's happening with my business until the end of the year, I can put in my order date range or my created date range, enter in my stay date ranges, and select export. I now have a quick, easy to access presentation that I can go sit down in the meeting with the general manager. I can then say we've had X amount of pickup, and this is what's happening within the market. This is my average daily rate that I achieved, and this is where we can possibly make some improvements. It's giving you the information that you need to adjust your pricing levels and adjust your marketing strategies. All of this information is available within the dashboard. As I mentioned, you just have to select the tool on the left-hand side, and it's there for you to help you understand. That's all from my side at the moment. Simon, I guess back to yourself for any questions.